Hello knitters, Barbara Benson here. I'm an independent knitwear designer who also likes to make videos here on my YouTube channel, Watch Barbara Knit. Make sure to check in the description notes below the video, where you will find links to all of my online shenanigans, including where to get my patterns to knit up for yourself, how to join the Watch Barbara Knit Facebook group, how to support me on Patreon, and where to get Watch Barbara Knit merchandise. Today we are continuing our special February. February starts with an F, and I love alliteration, so we're doing an entire February of Fave Fives. Not only are they Fave Fives, they're Fave 5 featured designers, which what I'm doing is instead of like picking one theme and picking out different patterns from different designers, I'm focusing each video on one designer and picking 5 patterns that I either like, I want to cast this on myself, or I think that y'all, based on what I've learned from all of your comments, what y'all are looking for in patterns. And since February comes with a built-in theme, because in the United States where I am, it is Black History Month, I am doing and highlighting Black designers. So I'm really excited about that. I will put links to the ones I've already done, and there's a couple more that are coming before February is over. So there'll eventually be links to all of them. And I hope you're enjoying these as much as I am. If you have been a viewer of my videos for any length of time, this next designer that we're talking about today will not come as any surprise to you. Her name is Fatimah Hinds, and she is an awesome knitwear designer, and she is also a personal friend of mine. So of course, I love her designs and I want to talk about them. I told her, I let her know, I didn't want to surprise her with this. So I let her know that I was going to be doing this Fave 5 for featuring her, and she asked me, she invited me to do something a little fun. So it's Thursday today, videos go up on Thursday, and she invited me to join her for an Instagram live. She has a large following on Instagram, and she likes to do Instagram lives. I've never done one, but she's like, hey, after your video comes out, why don't we do this Instagram live? So I'm inviting all of y'all, once you've watched this video, at 5 p.m. Eastern time, which I believe is 2 p.m. her time, because she is on the West Coast in Vancouver. We will be going live together on Instagram. I will definitely put a link to her Instagram in the notes below. And I'd love to have y'all come and join us. I'd love for y'all to come over and meet her and get to talk to her, and also see me be absolutely ridiculous on live. So get that out right there. Now we need to look at patterns. So as always, I have a secondary screen, so you'll see me looking over in this direction to make sure that I have all of the information right. And to kick things off, y'all know I love shawls. I know y'all love shawls. And this shawl really ticks all the boxes. We talked about this. I'm trying to find these for y'all. These are one skein shawls that are going to work really, really well with variegated yarns, and this one is absolutely lovely. It is called the Linen Smidge, and by linen she is referring to the linen stitch. Okay, and so this is a top-down crescent, also one of my favorite shapes. She has designed it in fingering weight yarn on a US size 7, which makes total sense. That might sound a little big, but linen stitch tends to compact, so it's a really smart design choice to go up that needle size like fairly substantially, so you don't get too dense of fabric. Linen can, because of all the slip stitches in linen stitch, it can get really like dense. So for a shawl, 7 makes total sense. She calls for 400 to 420 yards, and what she's saying is this pattern was inspired by a single skein of beautiful yarn and a desire to simply have a relaxing knit. See, God, y'all, I knew y'all would like this one. It's a small little something, a smidgen, that you can use to show off that special skein. A quick knit that isn't too challenging so that you can sit back and enjoy the ride. This is the first in a series of patterns dedicated just this scenario. So obviously you got to go check out all of her patterns because amazing. Now, this center panel over here is the linen stitch, and then on the shoulder you can see the stockinette. I'm going to go to this. This is the picture I fell in love with. I love the swirly draping down. You can see that it's got these two panels in the front that have the linen stitch, and then the shoulders are stockinette, and then the center back is linen stitch. So I really love these four lines. You've got this standard, that kind of triangle shape in the back, which you see a lot, but this beautiful extra line of yarn overs that brings that extra shape. It's just different from what I've seen, and I just adore it. This definitely falls into the category of shawls I wish I had designed. I just love it. I think it's lovely. It's going to be perfect for any of your single skein things. I'm gonna guess, and we could ask her on Instagram if you come over to the live. I think that this would probably work with other yarns. I'm not sure how the pattern works, but it's probably pretty open-ended. I don't know, but love it, and wanted to kick things off with, y'all knew a shawl was coming. Let's get it out of the way. Now, next, socks. Something I don't design at all, but I picked these out because I absolutely love them. Let's see, we've got two pictures right here. So this one and this one. This is called Knee High by July, and what she is saying is title came from a saying used by corn growers in which the corn should be knee high by July. And so let's read this whole thing. These toe up knee socks have something for everyone. Love variegated yarn, love stripes, love ribbing, love the look of cables without actually having to cable. I designed these with the colorway, and she wanted the hand-dyed yarn to be the focus, as well as taking striped socks to the next level. Since these were released in July, I thought throwing in some lace would make it possible for you to knit them right now and wear them now. So these are socks, but they have like air holes. They're knee-high socks. This is in fingering weight yarn on a US size 1. So we've gone the opposite direction, but it makes total sense. It says between 650 and 800 yards. Obviously this takes more than a single skein of sock yarn, and she has the sizes available, and she's got narrow, medium, and wide 7, 8, and 9. So she really is adjusting, because one of the reasons I grabbed this picture was so that you could see the calf shaping. If you're gonna have knee-high socks, you need the calf shaping to keep these puppies on your legs. But the other reason I picked these is because I feel like these really have the hallmarks of a lot of what I find so intriguing and fascinating and just amazing about Fatimah's designs. Fatimah doesn't follow the rules. She does things that are generally like, no, that's not really the way it's done. And she breaks the design rules, but it comes out awesome. So she's using 2 different colors of yarn here. Yes, because we're striping. And so she's got a solid and she's got a variegated, and she's putting stripes, but it also has lace and cables. So you got a little bit of stripes for fun, but not so many stripes that it interferes with the actual design element, but enough to have fun. You've got these lace panels in socks, but then this cable, but it's not really a cable, it's like ribbing that's been cinched. So she's just putting together a lot of really fun design elements that somehow all work together, even if everything I've learned about design is this shouldn't work, but it does work, and it's fantastic. And I actually love the bottom of these, the foot, because you've got that variegated in the dark, and then the stripes, and then the solid and the semi-solid tonal in the peach, and then the stripes. It has an afterthought heel and this calf shaping and the ribbing. It's got a lot going on, and I think they're just gorgeous. Okay. These socks are amazing, and I love them. Yes, so narrow, medium, wide. So that's, so narrow, medium, wide is the 7, 8, or 9-inch foot circumference, and the calf is a separate measurement and is written for 14 to 16 inches. You definitely want to wear these with negative ease, but it's a really cool pattern. So I could not put this one down. I couldn't like put it aside. I love it. Okay. Breaking some more rules. So this is Wafla, and it is a waterfall cardigan. Now, when you think waterfall cardigans, you almost always think lace. Okay? Lace cardigans. They're these open, flowy things. And this is flowy, and it hangs, but it's cables, and it's really cool cables. So this is, let me make sure I've got this right. This is worsted weight yarn on a US size 9, which is a 5.5 millimeter. I forgot the metric for earlier ones. I'm very sorry. All the information is on the different, both her Etsy and her Ravelry pattern pages. And this says, I love a pattern that has details to keep the knitting interesting and a few rest rows so that things don't get too tedious. Wafla is all of that and more. This open front cardigan includes widely spaced cables all over mistake rib and garter trim for texture. Then for the ultimate wearability, the flaps are generous and overlapping. The drop shoulder keeps it casual, and the drape front means that it'll be perfect for jammies, jeans, and khakis alike. This is an updated version, and she has added sizes. So the finished size goes from a 31.5 inch chest up to a 64-inch chest circumference. I don't have the metric on that, and it's intended to be worn with ease. The yardage estimate is between 880 and 1976 yards of worsted. You are definitely going to need a cable needle for these absolutely massive cables. And that is one of the things, and this is why I had to pick this one. Look at the texture she has created here with the mistake rib, which I think adds a layer of texture that is amazing. And these huge cables that are giving this convoluted element to this piece. I think it looks incredibly comfortable, like an incredibly snuggly thing, but also super fun. And I love the big hanging fronts. It's just, when you think of a waterfall cardigan, this is not what immediately springs to mind, but it should be because it's fantastic. So I really like Wafla. And let's see, our next one, you will note Fatimah loves cables. She also does beautiful lace and texture, but I think she really does amazing things with cables and unexpected things with cables. She does some really, I just really encourage you to go look at her entire portfolio because I couldn't show all of them, but this one is really cool. This is the Graffiti Hat. It is a bulky weight yarn, and it is US size 10 or 6.0 millimeters. It takes between 100 and 106 yards, so it's gonna knit up super fast. And this is like, in a nutshell, Fatimah's like approach to things. There's this idea that cables shouldn't be worked in yarn with a lot of visual interest. I disagree. I love how cables provide movement and help break up the color. This hat is has a plush cabled brim to show off the cables. A section of cables continues all the way to the crown, but there is a nice size stockinette section to show off the beautiful hand-dyed yarn. The largest size is good for adults with varying amounts of hair. The pattern is perfect for that one special skein of chunky yarn that you've been saving. The sample is knit in serendipitous wool pita in the color Graffiti Roses. And so there are two sizes. You have a 19-inch circumference and a 23-inch circumference. And that is another great thing that Fatimah does. She takes into consideration that a lot of people have different types of hairstyles that need a little bit of extra room for in the hat type region. So again, serendipitous rule. So you can see the cables here. And I love the way that they're reflected. That is a really great attention to detail. Instead of all of them spiraling in the same direction, they're spiraling like against each other. So it's really cool. But then here you can see where the cable stops, and then there's this whole stockinette panel. So you've got cables for part and then stockinette for part. So as you said, there's that room for the variegated yarn to really shine, but also it's super fun mixed up in the cables and in the reverse stockinette between the cables. So super cute, super fast. If you love the cables, this is great. If you love the variegated yarn, this is great. I also like the fact that there is effectively no like ribbing on this, because the whole thing is kind of ribbed. Her ribbing has the cables in it. It's a great hat. Thought y'all might like it. Now, the last one, another cable. Now, I picked this one out for a variety of reasons. A, love it. B, again, stripes with cables. How often do you see that done and work? And also you'll see it's really cool that you've got these stripes coming in. I'm trying to point at it right there and right up here, but the cables themselves are not striped. So I'm guessing there's some slip stitches going on in there. And this is called Fetching Fletcher. And she does make the sense. This cow puts me in the mind of a feather, and during some of the Renaissance festivals, street characters who collect feathers are called a Fletcher fetcher. So many F's. So this is a feather effect, right? And so Fetching Fletcher combines a simple central cable flanked by garter stitch worked in a chevron pattern. To keep things interesting, the cowl is knit flat in 2 different colors, with the color change happening over a series of stripes of varying sizes, while the cable is largely uninterrupted. A short seam is the extent of finishing. The pattern is easily modified to be longer or wider. As written, the finished size is long enough to be worn long or looped twice around the neck. This is the picture I have here, is the double loop. I include instructions on how to make the cowl without the eyelets. I'm not real sure where the eyelets are, but it's super cool. And it is in DK weight yarn, US size 8, 5.0 millimeter, 425 to 475 yards. So here is what it looks like flat. And here you can really see that when you get into the striping portion, you've got the gray stripes coming in, but the cable stays peach. And then when the dominant color shifts, the cable is gray and the stripes are coming in. I just love the elegance of this. She really is excellent at understated things that have a huge impact. But the other reason I picked this one is Fatimah has a very wide selection of patterns where she focuses on gender neutral design or non-binary design, something that she's like shawls for everybody. Everything is for everybody. And while like the socks I showed are fairly distinctly feminine, a large body of her work, of her patterns, are very gender neutral. Based on your color choices or what you personally do. You could shift the patterns either way, but at their base, the design is very non-binary. So that is something really cool, and I wanted to make sure I showed this pattern because I think it's a good illustration of that. There's nothing feminine about this pattern. There's nothing masculine about this pattern. It's just beautiful. It's got cables. It looks like it's a fun knit. I love the diagonals that are going on that contrast with the straight cable. So in general, love it. So those were my fave 5 for Fatimah Hinds, but I also wanted to show you, I'm messing around over on my computer over here, and boop, there we go. So this is Fatimah's Etsy website. So she has her patterns on Ravelry, and when you go, actually, let me pop back real quick. One of the things that was a little challenging for this particular selection is that Fatimah has done a lot of work with third parties. She's been in Vogue. She's been in any number of magazines. She's been in calendars. She's done a lot of work in magazines and books. And I only wanted to highlight her patterns that if you choose to support her, you can go and purchase these patterns directly from her. Some of the other designs that she has that I absolutely adore would go through a third party, and she would get less compensation for them. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but I particularly wanted to feature things that you could purchase directly from her, either through her Ravelry store or through her Etsy store. So I'm going to show you your Etsy store, but again, you got to go look at everything she does because her body of work is absolutely gorgeous. Now, Etsy store. This is her Etsy store, and you can get her patterns, but I also wanted to show you she has what, for me, and actually is my mouse doing its thing, I don't know, my absolute favorite knitting pun business name, Disturbing the Fleece. I just think it's hilarious, and she has merchandise. So I have a Disturbing the Fleece pin, and you can get the pin itself here. You can get, there's a sticker, there's the pin, there's a shiny sticker. These are handmade. She like hand stamps her logo on these muslin project bags, which are super fun. She has shown a lot of herself to her community and has built an amazing community on Instagram, which is why we're going to hop over there at 5 o'clock to do the Instagram live. It's a very dynamic and engaging community that talks about a lot of knitting, but also a lot of really serious social issues. So it's a lot of fun, and you'd have to ask her what this means, but definitely a good thing. But as you can see, you've got all of her stuff. You've got patterns that you can purchase, but also she's unique in that, as far as the designers I'm going to highlight this month, that you can purchase finished pieces from her, and she will take commissions. So you can purchase hand knit sweaters that she will knit to your specifications, and y'all will discuss colors and everything. Or there are completely finished pieces on here that are ready to go. So you can buy hand knit hats, you can buy hand knit cowls, headbands. Here is a whole dress. This I just have to show you. She knit a wedding dress, okay? And it is absolutely stunning. So she just is an amazing designer, an amazing knitter, and an amazing person. So I wanted to show you, definitely check out her Etsy store because it's a lot more than just, well, I don't want to say just, it's a lot more than knitting patterns. There's all different kinds of things there. So that is my Fave 5 for Fatimah Hinds. I hope you join us today at 5 p.m. Today being Thursday, obviously it's not Thursday when I'm recording that. So that is going to be Thursday the 16th at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. We will be going live on Instagram. So if you like this video, give it the thumbs up, click that like button, and if you would like to be notified whenever I upload a new video, please subscribe to my channel and select notifications. Thank you so much. This, obviously, you can see it's got the increases here. This is a stockinette panel. You know what? I am using my mouse arrow to show you what's going on, and that really doesn't happen.